Hello. um, I have a book review for you, and it is uh, Avenging Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. And this is written by Brian Kilmeade of Fox and Friends on the Fox Network. He has a book out now about the freedom fighter and Lincoln, and I didn't get that one. I got this one from Amazon, um, and of course, a lot of time Amazon has used books in decent condition as well. This one cost me $14, but when he talked about Lincoln and the freedom fighter, he mentioned Benjamin Franklin and said that in Benjamin Franklin's old age, he became an abolitionist. Now, to me, that means that basically so for his whole life he had slaves, and then late in life he became an abolitionist. I mean, it just seems like trying to soft pedal the slavery issue, which reminds me, I've done a number of other videos. If you click videos at the top, if you're on a computer, I'm not positive about these phones. All of my videos will come up. I have one on reparations. I have one on Mark Twain. And I have one, Bill O'Reilly, Charles Krauthammer, Judge Slavery by Its Time, question mark. Because people keeps talking about, well, these were men of their times. Well, they certainly were aware that the North had abolished slavery long before the South. They were aware of England and other nations having either abolished slavery or restricted the slave trade, whatever. And certainly they know what's going on in England. So that and other reasons, I just don't buy that. Um, I've heard folks say, well, it was only a few people that actually had the slaves, but the rest of the people benefited from being white and not having those restrictions on them. And I've heard a guy say, well, they did business with those that did and benefited from it, which is the same thing for, like, they say, well, what about the immigrants? Um, well, they too have benefited from the slaves helping to make this a powerhouse economy, and I know that that's been disputed as well about the role that the slaves had, but they indirectly also affected the North, and of course they were instrumental in winning the Civil War as well. Lincoln recognized that. Um, so I didn't want to get on too much of a tangent. Let's see. So of course, the Alamo was where Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie, who created the Bowie knife. There was a TV series. It's on Amazon Prime somewhere. James Bowie, and of course Davy Crockett starred Fess Parker, who also starred in the TV series Daniel Boone, and both of them were slaveholders also. There's been an episode of Daniel Boone where he's portrayed as helping Roosevelt Greer, one of those defensive players for the Rams, um, being anti-slavery, his son Israel, oh, it's wrong for slaves. But the reality is that I understand that Danny Boone as well owned slaves, or at least a slave. Let's see. So this is called the Avenging Alamo Avengers. And what happened was after a lot of those folks were massacred at the Alamo, apparently they came back a second time and took care of business. This time, Sam Houston, who I guess the city of Houston is named after, and he was a congressman, he was a magistrate who said he had never, I think he only had a second grade education or never really opened up a book. He was a congressman. Texas at one point was the independent republic of Texas, and he was the president of that for a number of years. Um, and he lost a couple of bids to become president of the United States. Now, Andrew Jackson was a mentor to Sam Houston. And they at one point had, so what happened was Mexico was a colony of Spain. Mexico eventually got their independence, and the U.S. had offered money to get Texas, which was turned down. Um, so I was surprised to read later in the book that they said that Mexico did not recognize Texas as uh, an independent republic, because I've heard that Texas was their own nation at some point, but this book says that Mexico did not recognize that. Um, it pointed out that Thomas Jefferson in the Louisiana Purchase, basically from the French, and it's been said that after Napoleon lost in Haiti, he was in desperate need of money. And this nearly doubled the size of the U.S. That Thomas Jefferson thought that uh, Texas was part of his Louisiana Purchase. And in the book, it speaks of, said that Andrew Jackson thought that John Quincy Adams gave away Texas. Um, so they say the U.S. Congress voted to annex Texas into the Union, but that it wasn't completely finalized until the Mexican-American War. Let's see. So I'm just trying to think. Okay, so they annexed it at the Texas Mexican American War. I think that is about it. Because I've been very interested in what happened way back then, and of course I have to prioritize taking care of my own personal business and affairs and researching on those types of things. Let's see if there's something in my personal life or the news that I want to mention. No, I think that's about it. And I'm just trying to think if there was something else noteworthy in the book that I'd want to mention. I think that's about it. So let me see here.